Welcome back to Shady Hollows. My name is Vane, and today we are covering more horrors hidden in plain sight. And today we will be going through Fred and Rose West, the House of Horrors. On a quiet street in Gloucester, England, there stood an ordinary terraced house. Brick exterior, narrow windows, and a small backyard. Children nearby played around, and neighbors walked past it daily. Inside the house, there were walls, floors, and a garden that held secrets for nearly 2 decades. When investigators finally started digging, they didn't stop finding bodies. This is the story of Fred and Rose West, and the house that became known as the House of Horrors. Frederick Walter Stephen West was born in 1941 in Herefordshire, England. I'm pretty sure I said that completely wrong. Correct me if I did. I do not know how to say these words. Accounts of his childhood describe an unstable household. There were allegations of incest within his family. Alright. Violence was normalized, and Fred later claimed that sexual boundaries inside his home were blurred from an early age, though some of these claims remain disputed. Interesting. By his late teens, Fred had already shown violent tendencies. In 1961, at age 20, he was involved in a car accident that left him with a fractured skull and brain injury. Some later speculated that this may have affected impulse control, but there is no medical conscience that a cause will follow. In 1967, Fred was convicted of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl. He served prison time, and this becomes very important because he was already a convicted sex offender before the majority of the murders occurred. He was no hidden monster. In fact, he had many warning signs, and he had been convicted, and he had many patterns. But yet the escalation continued to happen because there was no order. Then comes in Rosemary Feline Letts, who was born in 1953. She met Fred West in 1969 when she was just 15 years old. Fred was 27. Within a short period of time, she moved in with him. Rose became not just a partner, but an active participant. Former friends later described their relationships as sexually violent and controlling, but investigators would later conclude something chilling. Rose was not merely coerced, she was involved. Fred and Rose moved into a 25 Cromwell Street in Gloucester in 1972. They hadn't raised children there. They appeared, at least outwardly, like a chaotic but functioning family. But beneath the house, the first confirmed murder connected to the property was that of Heather West, Fred's daughter from a previous relationship. In 1987, Heather, aged 16, disappeared. Fred and Rose told the other children she had run away. Years later, her remains were found buried in the garden. Prosecutors later argued she had been strangled, but Heather was not the first victim. Between 1967 and 1971, before moving to Cromwell Street, Fred murdered at least 2 young women, which would be Anne McFall, who was 8 months pregnant with Fred's child, and Charmaine West, Fred's stepdaughter. Charmaine's remains were later found buried under the kitchen floor of Fred's earlier home. After moving to Cromwell Street, the murders continued. From 1973 to 1987, at least 9 young women disappeared. Many were lured to the house under the presence of shelter, work, or friendship. Once inside, prosecutors stated they were sexually assaulted, tortured, strangled, and dismembered. Their bodies were buried in the cellar or garden. And during the 1985 trial, prosecutor Brian Levinson described the crime as a catalog of depravity. He told the jury that the victims were subjected to sexual perversion and sadistic abuse. Perhaps the most disturbing element: the West children were living in that house while murders were happening. Some later testified that they were abused themselves. Daughter Mae West later stated she was sexually abused by her father. Another daughter, Anne Marie, also made abuse allegations. The house was not just a crime scene, It was a family home. Dinner was cooked there. Birthdays were celebrated there. And beneath the floors were bodies. This is where the horror becomes almost unbearable. It wasn't isolated violence. It wasn't integrated into domestic life. That duality, normal routine above ground, atrocity below, is what defines the House of Horrors. In 1994, police began investigating Fred West over allegations of sexual abuse involving his children. During questioning, Fred eventually admitted to killing Heather. Police obtained a research warrant for 25 Cromwell Street on February 24, 1994. They eventually began excavating it. Investigators uncovered Heather's remains in the garden, and then they began to continue digging. And when they continued to dig, they had found even more, and even more bodies. By the end of the excavation, the remains of 9 young women were found at the property. 3 additional victims were linked to Fred elsewhere. In total, Fred West confessed to 12 murders, while Rose was charged with 10. In January 1995, before trial began, Fred West was found dead in his prison cell. How are we getting away with letting people just commit suicide in prison? Because it's just a common thing. I mean, Epstein, look at him now. He's gone and he's allegedly dead. Keyword, allegedly dead. Yet, we can't have no official protection for these criminals that deserve to go through trial as a very deranged murderer. He was found to be hanged by using bed sheets, and he left a suicide note. In it, he wrote, "I love you," which was addressed to Rose. He never got to testify in court, and he never faced cross-examination, which means, once again, many questions died alongside with him. Rose West's trial began in October 1995 at Winchester Crown Court. She denied all charges. Prosecutors argued that she was not a passive bystander. They presented evidence that she participated in assaults, she helped restrain victims, and she engaged in sexual acts with them before murder. After nearly 7 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for 12 hours. On November 22, 1995, Rose West was found guilty of 10 counts of murder. The judge sentenced her to life imprisonment. Mr. Justice Mantell told her, "The crimes for which you have been committed represent an appalling catalog of depravity." She was given a whole life order, meaning she will never be released. She remains in prison today. In 1996, 25 Cromwell Street was demolished. The government wanted to prevent it from becoming a morbid attraction. The rubble was crushed and disposed of, and today the site is a landscaped footpath. No plaque, no marker, no paving. But the address remains burned into British criminal history. The horror of Fred and Rose West isn't just the body count. It was the duration. Almost 20 years of this happening inside a family home. It's the partnership, which was a married couple. It's the fact that neighbors later said things like, "They seemed odd, but not like that." And maybe the most chilling truth. Multiple opportunities insisted to intervene. Fred had prior convictions. Children made statements. Rumors circulated. But the full picture didn't emerge until bodies surfaced. 25 Cromwell Street looked like any other house on the block. It had curtains, a mailbox, a doorbell, anything you can think of a normal house. Inside there had been laughter, arguments, lots of music playing, but while all that was going on, underneath it all, there were buried secrets. While Fred West had died before facing justice in court, Rose West will likely die in prison. And the house remains gone, and the story still remains a reminder. Sometimes horror doesn't hide in abandoned places. Sometimes it lives in brick houses on ordinary streets, and sometimes it's shared by 2 people behind a closed door. If you had enjoyed this video and would like to see more of horrors hidden in plain sight, go ahead and press a like and share and subscribe. to Shady Hollows. And until then, my hollows, stay safe, stay warm, and stay cozy. Until then, see you in the next video. Bye.